So this probably has to be one of the more shocking and gripping legal dramas that I've seen in recent times. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today the film that we are going to be talking about is the new Telugu film which has premiered on Netflix called Court State versus a Nobody. State versus a Nobody. Court is the main title, which stars Priyadarshi. It is presented by Nani and directed by Ram Jagadeesh. Now, as the title would say, coming to the story and screenplay, as the title would say, it has state versus a nobody in it. Here, nobody essentially, as per me, is an underdog, wherein everything is pinned against that underdog. The underdog here specifically is with respect to the character of Chandu, which is played by Harsh, and he actually is incorporated in a case wherein the charges applied to him are that of POXCO, prevention of child sexual act, which is there. That is the charge that is being applied to the main character, and all stacks are against him, basically, if you could just put it in a one line. The other nobody in this film is the protagonist, which is played by Priyadarshi. Priyadarshi is also an underrated lawyer who he plays in the film, who hasn't even fought a single case for his firm. He's waiting for that opportunity, to fight that case. So in a way, the story here is about two nobodies with intertwining themes that relate to this drama here. The drama here is essentially broad stroke, if I have to be very honest, but the emotions absolutely do land here. It's absolutely gripping to the core, and much of it needs to be credited to the execution and the performances which are in the film. Now, if I have to get a little into the details of the screenplay, the crux of the film is a romantic drama. In the first star, it's a romantic drama. Now, the era here is that of 2013, and if you remember, this is that era which is just about on the cusp of the social media era. Social media hasn't come in its full blown capacity, so the exchanges that happened between the main characters of Chandu and Jabili are that of calling. They actually call each other, and it's almost like it has a mysterious kind of a flavor to it, and also an innocence to it. Mysterious because Chandu doesn't know the actual person whom he's talking to in the form of Jabili, like who is Jabili, and they keep it discreet with their families also. The recurring theme between them, the linkage between them, is an age-old theme that we've already seen. It's like a poor guy meets a rich girl, falls in love, and there's a society kind of an obstacle to it. It's a theme that was definitely been used over the years, right from the 70s to the 80s and later to the 90s as well. But the stakes in the drama here are heightened because the girl is shown to be underage, and that's what adds a little bit of complexity to the drama, and that is something that works in favor, as is the character which is played by her uncle. The actor's name is Shivaji, and he plays the character of Magpati. It was a phenomenal character with the way it was performed. Now, interestingly, this character was never supposed to work. It was a one note character if you look at it. It's almost like a shrill induced character who's a misogynist and almost has a misguided sense of masculinity. In a scene, you see him, singling out a girl child, for wearing a sleeveless attire. In another scene, he's even not even afraid of sending a character to jail just because his son, supposedly according to him, gave a love letter to one of the females in the house. And so interestingly, his character was never supposed to work because it's almost binary in his approach. The written character that is there, it's binary. It's not as if there are any redemption arcs or there are layers to the character. It is pretty much a binary thing in terms of the morality of the character, which actually makes it interesting, and how this character works, it's simply because of the performance that I'll get to, and it's also because of the emotions that are attached to the character. Because the emotions are so simple and so binary to comprehend, it actually, transforms into something that is more gripping and impactful as far as the character is concerned, and that's what makes for an interesting watch. Now, the themes that are there, like the first star is essentially that of the first nobody, primarily the love story that happens between Chandu and Jabili. The other, while the protagonist Priyadarshi is in the background, but the second half, completely switches sides with Chandu being in the background while his case is being fought. And the other side of the things are that of character Priyadarshi, who takes it upon himself to fight the case. Now, the interesting aspect here is that the connecting tissue here between the first hour and the second hour is almost like a commentary on how the rich have the laws tilted towards their side. Either they are bought, they are manipulated. In the film, they are bought, manipulated, or even tilted towards them, and that is the subtle commentary that goes on. However, the arguments here in the second hour are pretty good, even though the pitch lies a little on the louder side, but the arguments, that are presented from both the sides rather make for a quite an intense courtroom drama. The only, criticism that I had with the film was in the final act. The final act, which was there, it's more with respect to the monologue that takes place in the final act, that kind of skewed the messaging of the film. The reason I see that is because the messaging that they go on, or the argument that they provide in the monologue, is slightly on a tangent as compared to what the film stood for all along. So there was this conundrum that was there, which I didn't think they needed to push the envelope to an extent there, and I think that was the issue that transpired in the final act. But otherwise, the screenplay, despite it being predictable, definitely makes for a gripping watch. Now, coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction, I think the dialogues, definitely, as I said, they have the shrill on the higher side, but they definitely have the emotions also intact, and it makes for a impactful watch when you're watching the dialogues. The music was decent. I did not mind the music here. The songs luckily did not deter the momentum of the drama, but I had a little criticism with the BGM that was there. The BGM was slightly over arcal, and it kind of hampered with the viewing experience, not to a point of the film completely being in disarray, but it was almost to a point that was preparing the viewer for the kind of emotions that you wanted to the makers wanted the viewers to feel in that scene which was there. And that, I think, was a bit of a manipulation on the part, often almost like a giveaway of what you must feel as opposed to what you can feel, like deciphering the emotions that are there. That was the one criticism. But the cinematography definitely allows you to keep in touch with the characters and the emotions. Also, the editing that is there, the editing is pretty crisp, so much so that the runtime, it did not really feel heavy at any point, while having the individual arcs. The director Ram Jagadeesh, I think he did a phenomenal job in his first debut outing. This film, on its written material, could not have worked if the director was weak, because the emotions are basic, the lines that are drawn are binary, the characters are almost one note, at least some of the major characters, like the character played by Shivaji, Makpati, who plays. But the conviction that was there in the direction is what sailed the film through. He actually managed to create gripping scenes, especially in the second hour, while allowing you enough time to invest in the couple in the first hour, that actually made for a solid watch. It was pretty gripping, it was pretty intense, and it made for a good watch because of the direction. I think direction here remains one of the unsung heroes of the film. Coming to the performances, I feel the performances are pretty spectacular as well. Some of the performances, like Harsh and Sridevi, who play the young couple, by the way, great casting decision. They look the part. Harsh looks 19, Devi doesn't look 18 or just about 18. The age appropriate casting was absolutely wonderful to witness here, and that's what made the casting winner for these two guys. Some of the other characters like Sai Kumar, he's such a heartwarming character in the film. He almost comes at a time, to pump up the spirits of the protagonist. I think he did a very good job. I think he was phenomenal. Even Harshvardhan, who played the lawyer, I think the arguments that he presents are pretty solid, and he'll also subtly infuriate or trigger you in certain ways, with the arguments that he presents. And I think he did a pretty solid job there as well. I felt even some of the other characters like Rohini, she did a good job as well, very subtle with her impact of the role, but very important cog to the screenplay. I felt even Priyadarshi was very honest, very competent, and I think he did a phenomenal job in the film. The arguments and the stature that he, maintains. I think the growth that happens in his character was also good to watch, and I'm so happy for Priyadarshi, that he's getting such roles, to showcase his phenomenal talent. But the pick of the actors for me has to be Shivaji, who plays Makpati. I think he was phenomenal in a character that was one note on paper, but the kind of performance that he came across with made for an intimidating watch. It was almost infuriating and intimidating, so much so that the impact and the elevation, the drama was elevated to another height, and it made for a very, very solid impact. The character, the way he portrayed the character was pretty solid and pretty phenomenal. I think it did a good job. So overall, State versus a Nobody remains a compelling courtroom drama with solid performances. I happen to like it. It's a double thumbs up for me. It has its flaws, but it's still a pretty solid watch in my opinion. The film is streaming on Netflix. If you watch the film, please chime in your views in the comment section. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your thoughts? Did you watch it in a theater? Anything related to the film. Also, if you're liking this video, remember to smash that like button. Please smash that like button. It helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My detailed review of the film State versus a Nobody is available also on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S. The link of which is in the description box below. You need to check that out. You can read it in your language or the language of your choice as well. You can also follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles. You may want to check that out as well. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.